State lawmakers and educators are battling it out over bills that deal with a host of topics. We will bring you reaction. Lawmakers in West Virginia have teamed up with a social media platform to help increase broadband access. And we have details about what led to a confrontation between a Utah boy and some dogs that left the boy with serious injuries.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:30 on Tuesday, March the 5th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News This Morning. Well, yesterday we saw a little bit of snow flying, which made my heart happy. This morning, anything but. Brandon, good morning. It's going to be a chilly day, but the temperature does go up from what we saw yesterday.
A little bit, not a whole lot, because it's been fluctuating here the last few hours, and we're going to continue to see maybe close to freezing today. But Will, if you like that snow that we had last night, you may see a little bit more tonight. Let's get into it first. We'll get more into that forecast here in a little bit, but the temperatures this morning currently, it's cold outside. 20 here in Hazard, 10 in Moorhead. Everybody else kind of falling in between. Some spots down toward the Cumberland Valley, seeing some colder temperatures. You factor in the feels like temperature, feels like single digits, and that's about 10 to 15 degrees colder than it was this time yesterday. Full forecast in a few minutes.
All righty, Brandon, we'll be back with you. Well, the days for the 2019 General Assembly are winding down in Frankfort. There are still several high-profile bills up for consideration. One of those bills is House Bill 205. It would provide millions of dollars in tax credits for private school scholarships. But as WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains, that bill doesn't come without controversy.
House come to order. Members, proceed to your seats.
Kentucky's legislature is scheduled to come to an end in a matter of days, and bills dealing with pensions, changes to teacher retirement boards, and tax credits for private school scholarships are still moving through the system.
I came out today originally kind of to hear about 525, which didn't come up.
Jenny Bolander and many other teachers filled the Kentucky House Gallery to hear about the bill that would make some changes to how teacher retirement boards are made up, but it was not voted on.
It was not. I know that there are the sponsor as well as some other members are working on some amendments to address some of the concerns that came up.
That bill would provide millions in tax credits for those who donate for private school scholarships.
A great opportunity for those people that are not wealthy to have some school choice.
Yet many educators fear it's going to take money away from public schools.
This is going to take $25 million in the first year and 25% more each year after that.
But I think to refuse to even have the conversation of why some people in this state should have choice and others shouldn't is not an appropriate reaction to discussing the bill.
Kentucky school superintendents also say they're against it. Legislative leaders say they're pressing on.
Because I've dealt with superintendents for long enough to know that they're opposed to anything that challenges the status quo.
In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Phil's story alluded to some of the concerns school superintendents and teachers have about the bill. Hillary Thornton has reaction from two of them about why educators are protesting the legislation.
It is a piece of proposed legislation hoping to give individuals or businesses who donate to scholarships for private schools tax credits. So how many superintendents oppose this measure?
173. That's how many school districts are in Kentucky.
Scott Hawkins, superintendent in Woodford County, says this is not them opposing school choice, but is an argument for adequate funding for their districts, which they say are woefully underfunded.
We need every dollar we can get in our public schools to be able to offer the best opportunities for our students.
Meanwhile, proponents of the scholarship tax credit program say the opposite, explaining their belief that it will not take any money away from public school funding. They also believe by giving more students an opportunity to attend private schools, it will mean more resources for students in the public school systems.
And something else the superintendent's here talking about in regards to House Bill 205 is the fact that the legislature passed their top priority, school safety, without any funding.
The time when we need to implement Senate Bill 1, the school safety bill, we don't need the loss of dollars.
Some other things they feel the state's money could be used for include textbooks and a full day of kindergarten. Currently, the state only funds half days.
So that we can get a good base, a good foundation for students in early education so they can be successful in graduating high school.
Hillary Thornton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, lawmakers extended their voting days to March 15th. They will then adjourn for a veto session. The final day to consider bills and to override vetoes is scheduled for March 28th. Well, a Kentucky family is watching two bills closely in Frankfort. They say legislation to legalize medical marijuana would change the life of their daughter. 15-month-old Colby was born with a rare disorder that causes seizures. Her family uses 8 medications to get her through the day. They say they have tried CBD oil, which helped, but the family says it's just not enough. They're hoping Senate Bill 170 and House Bill 136 can give Colby a new chance at life.
It would be the best thing that could ever happen to this family. I'm so ready for this to end. She just needs more. She just needs a little oomph, just a little bit of the THC that enhances it.
Now, we checked on the status of both of those bills. They are still in committees. Fulkerson says her family will make the trip to Frankfort later this week to fight for the bills. Well, the Kentucky Education and Workforce Development Cabinet announced Monday Kentucky's unemployment rate fell to 4.3% in 2018. That is a decrease from 4.9% in 2017. Cabinet officials say this is the lowest annual jobless rate for the state since 2000. But in the report, officials say unemployment statistics are based on estimates and are compiled to measure trends rather than actually count the number of people working. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Labor awarded a $1.75 million grant to the Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program, also known as EKSEP. The funding is intended to help people who have lost their jobs due to the decline in the coal industry. EKSEP's Executive Director Jeff Whitehead says the funds will help support ongoing efforts to move the economy forward by furthering the workforce retraining and reemployment initiatives. In just a few minutes, the polls will open in the special election for the 31st District Senate seat. The seat opened up after Ray Jones won his campaign for Pike County Judge Executive in November. The 31st Districts includes Pike, Martin, Lawrence, Elliott, and Morgan counties. Pike County Deputy Court Clerk Pam Lambert says just because this is a special election, it is ran the same way as others.
It basically works just like any other election. You go to your polling place, the precinct that you live at, and vote there.
It does not matter which party you are registered under. You can vote for Democrat Darrell Pugh or Republican Philip Wheeler. We will follow the race throughout the day and keep you updated here and, of course, on our website at WYMT.com. Let's head over to some regional news now. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice and Senator Shelley Moore Capito joined representatives from Facebook for a big announcement Monday. We are told the social media giant plans to build a fiber optic cable system that runs through parts of the Mountain State, which would increase their access to high-speed internet. Senator Capito says leaders have worked for more than a year to make the project a reality.
It'll help with school, kids going home from school to be able to get service. It will help with telehealth, economic development. A lot of companies have to have the bandwidth to be able to conduct business, and this will help them get that. And so it also helps us tap into the federal funds more effectively to be able to make the case why we need to get those federal grants.
Capito says as a result of the project, broadband providers will be able to expand middle-mile networks into communities along the route. Well, back here at home, family and friends gathered Monday for the funeral of a Perry County man who was murdered last week.
My 4-year-old locked herself in the bathroom. Well, she's in a panic, crying in the bathroom, and I'm in a panic. And I know the one person I could call would be Danny Ray. I called my granny, and she called him. She said, Danny, Carly's locked in the bathroom and she's panicking, and so is Carlina. He said, I'm on my way. Well, he come running in the house.
Now, deputies say Danny Mullins was shot multiple times. Loved ones shared their memories of Mullins, calling him loving, honest, and respectful. Mullins' niece said he was reliable too, and she shared a special memory of him from almost a year ago. Now, Mullins was laid to rest at Mountain View Memorial Gardens. James McIntosh, the man accused of shooting him, pleaded not guilty in court yesterday. Meanwhile, a man charged in a January murder was brought to Knox County Monday. The family of Gary Medellin say they feel they are starting to get justice for his murder. Kentucky State Police brought Philip Lewis to the Knox County Jail yesterday morning and charged him in relation to the robbery and shooting at the A&B Quick Stop.
It wasn't God or anybody else. It was this evil monster, Philip Lewis.
Now, Lewis appeared in U.S. District Court in London, where federal charges against him were dismissed in favor of state charges, which include robbery and murder. Now to a disturbing story out of Utah, where a dog bit off part of a 4-year-old boy's arm this weekend. First responders in Layton received the call around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. The boy's family said he was playing with the neighbor's dogs when it happened. Officials say this is the first known aggressive incident with the dogs. They are being held in quarantine while the investigation is ongoing. At last check, the boy was in stable condition at a hospital. Coming up, Hollywood and lifelong fans are remembering Luke Perry, who died yesterday following a stroke.
Another cold day on tap, even with sunshine. I'll tell you when we could see some warmer temperatures in about 3 minutes.